What is up, nerds? It is Reptile DIY here again, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make your very own pair of metal shin plate motorcycle boots. You've probably seen these bad boys in the Mad Max movie series, or maybe on some local crust pump down the road. Anyway, let's get this shit started. So the boots that we are replicating today are called Hi Point by Alpine Star. These were very popular motocross boots that started off in the late 1970s and early 1980s. And like I stated before, they were popularized by the Mad Max movie series. They have also been heavily worn by crust punks going back to the 1980s, and you can still see them wearing them today. Now, unfortunately, the main drawback to these Alpine Star Hi Point boots is that they are all vintage stock and outrageously expensive, going from $150 to $400 a pair. Now, I hate spending money, so I'm going to show you guys how to make your very own reproduction pair for a fraction of the price, while showing you some introduction leatherworking skills. So let's talk about supplies. So supplies are pretty basic with these boots. Obviously, you're going to need a pair of boots. I choose to get motorcycle boots that are the pull-on style and at least go above the mid-calf line. I was lucky enough to find my personal pair at a thrift store for a fraction of the price, but the boots I'm working on today for a friend were bought online, and I will link them down below. Alternatively, if you are in a pinch and you don't want to spend as much money, look up some Cold War era military boots. These German ones I found, I think would be perfect. Now, I personally have not bought any of these military surplus boots, but if one of you guys do buy some, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. Also, you can get real country bumpkin with these boots. I have done a pair of cowboy boots up like this in the past, and they turned out all right. Outside of the boots, you will also need some motorcycle shin guards. This is King Shodan brand. I'm sure there's all sorts of different brands. These are just the ones that I'm using. Now, the cool thing about this Shodan brand is that they come with arm guards as well that you can use on a smaller pair of boots, or you can make some wasteland armor out of it. Now, guys, all the links for the boots, the guards, and everything will be down below. You will also need a leather spur punch, a leather punching awl or a way to punch through the front of the boot leather, a hammer, some leather rivets. I'm going to be using short prong leather rivets, as well as a way to set your rivets. Some rivets come with a rivet setter, razor blade or something sharp, and a paint pen or a metallic Sharpie. Doesn't matter which. So enough talking, let's get started. These are the boots I'm making for a friend. These are Ride Tech 16 inches. Like I said, the link will be down below. Really nice pull-on style motorcycle boots that go above the mid-calf. Like I said, it's very important. These are great boots. The link will be down below. Now, here is our shin guards. They do come with arm guards. You can use those for another project, but all we're focusing on today is the shin guards. First step is we're going to take a razor blade, a knife, something sharp, and we're going to cut off the actual metal away from the fabric behind it. Now, with this specific brand, the metal is encased in a hard plastic. You want to make sure you keep that hard plastic and just pull the backing off the shin guard, just like that. Now, optionally, guys, you can save the underlying fabric with that knee pad attached and attach it to the top of your boots when we're all done with some rivets for some more authentic motorcycle style boots, or if you want that wasteland style. I'm not going to be doing that with this pair, but all you do is rivet it onto the boots at the length of your knee. I will talk more about that at the end of the video, but anyway, here we are drawing some reference point lines onto our plastic metal shin guard pieces, just so we know where to punch our holes. Alright, so we have our reference points drawn onto the plastic of our shin guards. Now guys, if the shin guards that you buy are entirely metal, you're going to want to drill those holes in, but since mine are plastic, I'm going to be using a leather spur punch and punching those holes. It is important when punching holes that you want to set it to the same diameter that your rivets are. You want your holes to be snug, tighter than a crab's asshole. No loosey-goosey over here. Punch your holes, you want those rivets to be snug. Alright, so we have the holes punched in the plastic sheathing of our metal boot plates. Next up, we are going to align them onto our boots. I just eyeball it at first. You can measure things if you want to. I just eyeball it, then I grab some tape and tape it all on, so it's nice and stuck on there for the next step. You can see we have the tape right there. And we're going to go back with a metallic Sharpie, a paint pen, whatever you have. And you're going to go through the holes that you punched, and you're just going to draw those holes onto the leather, kind of trace them on so you have some visible reference points on your leather, just like that. So now that we have visible reference points on the front of our boot leather, we're going to punch some holes. Now guys, this is where I would use a leather awl and punch those holes. Now ironically, I do not have a leather awl, but I do have a bunch of biopsy punches because I was into body modification in my 20s. These biopsy punches work great. They poke holes, they're hard to come by, so just buy a leather awl. Now if you're really cheap and you don't want to buy a leather awl, just get a nail that is the same diameter as your rivets, and you could sharpen it up with a piece of sandpaper and just punch a hole that way. We are on some DIY punk shit. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you end up with holes in your reference points. Now we're going to start riveting. I'm going to be using these short prong rivets because they are perfect for what we're doing. Don't use those long prongs because they'll bend, but you're going to go in from the back of the boot, push the back of the rivets through the boot, just like that. You can see them poking through. And you're going to set your boot plate onto one side only. We're only going to do one side at a time with these. Makes it a lot easier. I'm going to take my tape off. We got one side done. Then we're going to take the top of our rivets. The top of the rivets snap on at first, so you can just snap them on real quick. But after they're snapped on, you got to go back and actually set them. So here they are, snapping them on. Now there are different ways to set rivets. A lot of rivet kits come with a rivet setter. I'm just going to be using a hammer and a 2x4 and kind of smashing it in between with the rivet in the middle, just closing them that way. It'd be a lot easier just because they have to go down inside the boot just like this. Like I said, I'm doing one side at a time. It's easier that way, just trust me. But here we go, we're doing one side. You're going to do the front. The front was kind of a pain, but not too bad. And we're going to go back, put the top of the rivets on the other side of the boot, just like this. Put our 2x4 or whatever you're using in there and just set the rivets, okay? Whatever works. The results are more important than the process. So here we are. If you have one leg, you are entirely done with this project. If you have 2 feet, please repeat all the same steps for your second boot. Here is our finished boots. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. In all reality, it's just riveting 2 pieces of shin guards onto a pair of boots. It's what, like 12 holes in total? Easy shit. It saved my friends some money, and they have a brand new pair of boots instead of buying some 40-year-old cracked leather vintage Alpine Star Hi Points for $400. Now guys, I went for a more wasteland feel with my personal boots. I made some boot straps. You can check out this old tutorial right there. The link will be down below. I also added some riveted on exposed steel caps, and I added the knee pads. Now when you add those knee pads, you want to adjust for the size of your knees, or the length of your knees, I guess you'd say. I didn't do this personally, but you want to set that excess underlying fabric that we cut off with the knee guard attached to the height of your knees, and then rivet that to the top of your boots. You can kind of see how I did that on my personal boots in the video. It is pretty self-explanatory, and like I said, it is optional. Anyway, here is our finished boots. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. I've been doing this DIY shit since about 2005, 2006. I'd love to teach you more about how to make punk, goth, and alternative clothes and leather gear. So if you like what you see, click that button down below. And until next time, see you later, nerds.